Welcome once again to Relationships at Work, a leadership podcast helping you build workplace connection, improve culture, and avoid blind spots. I'm your host, Russel Lolacher, communications leadership expert, a couple of decades of experience in both those areas, whole heap of curiosity too, just like yourself, on how we can make the workplace better. It is time for a mini episode. Quick, valuable bits of information to help your mindset for the week ahead. These drop usually near the end of the week, all inspired by our Raw Note newsletter, which you should really sign up for if you haven't done. Nice little side dish to the regular show. You can sign up by going to our LinkedIn page or russellolacher.com, either or. But the topic today, I believe in it so much, I've actually had it written on chalkboard in my office for years. And it's written down, it says, action is the start. Not talking, not supposing, not hinting at. Action. Actual action is the start. And I believe that's important, not only in your life, but in your work. And today I'm going to talk about it from a leadership perspective. The topic today, talking is not walking. The workplace step we keep postponing. We've all heard it. That tired, toothless phrase dropped into a conversation, a meeting, or a town hall like it's a mic drop moment of progress. Have you heard this before? At least we're starting the conversation. Like that is something people say to sort of pawn you off when you're hoping something's going to happen, something's going to get done. Hey, at least we're starting the conversation. It's usually said with good intentions. It might even be said with a hopeful smile or a nod to future potential. But here's the hard truth on this one. Talking about doing the work is not the same as actually starting the work, especially when it comes to leadership. If we're honest, starting the conversation, quote unquote, has become a cultural placeholder, a socially acceptable way to appear invested while avoiding the discomfort of real commitment. Look, I'm committing to a thing because we're talking about it. That's not how it happens. It just buys time. It softens criticism. It makes leadership look thoughtful instead of indecisive. But in the absence of follow-up or follow-through, it's just noise. It's just noise. And noise doesn't build better workplaces. Action does. So for example, talking about the need for psychological safety doesn't make people feel safe. Discussing the importance of inclusion doesn't change hiring practices. Acknowledging burnout doesn't refill anyone's cup, right? They don't feel like they have that energy, that investment, that support. When leadership leans on the idea that dialogue equals progress, it tells employees, we're aware, but we're not ready to do. That kind of leadership actually delays trust. It deflates morale, and it actually can teach people to lower their expectations of leadership, especially when they keep hearing it over and over and over again without seeing any meaningful results or change at all. Worse, it can actually feel kind of manipulative, because while talk is risk-free for those in power, inaction is often painful for those waiting for the change. The longer the delay between intent and implementation, the louder the silence becomes and the more it says. Silence speaks volumes. Leaders may convince themselves that starting conversation is courageous. Like they may even be convincing themselves that starting conversation is action. And sure, in some contexts, especially when silence has been the norm, it can feel like it, right? But courage without commitment is just performative. And we've talked about performative versus performance before on this show. We don't measure leadership by how well it acknowledges a problem. We measure it by what it does after the meeting ends, after the conversation finishes. So when it comes to the messy, complex, emotional work of improving culture, starting a conversation isn't the starting line. Trying something is. Sure, it might not work right away. That's the nature of change. But a failed attempt says more about a leader's commitment than a perfectly crafted internal comms message ever could. We need to think of it from our team's point of view, too. Employees craving better workplaces, talk without action reads as avoidance. For those employees craving better workplaces, just talk without action reads as avoidance. It's leadership signaling. We want credit for recognizing the issue, but we're not ready to get uncomfortable fixing it. That's what we're saying as leaders. So the question this week is, What can we try, even if it's small, to show our intent is real? Here are a couple actions we can take. First, commit to one tangible change in the next 30 days. No committees, no 6-month plans, just one change, like adjusting a meeting structure or pausing weekend emails or revising a policy that's doing more harm than good. Something, anything. Prove that we can move the needle. Another thing is share the responsibility and the timeline. It's not all on us as leaders. Invite your team into the solution. Give them a voice in what you're going to try first and make your timeline public. Be transparent, truly transparent. Accountability should never live in a black box. This should be co-created. And last, start celebrating tries, not just wins. Reward the attempt. Highlight the experiments, even if they don't work, as proof of progress. You're learning. You're learning about what doesn't work. It shows you're not stuck in performance mode, but are willing to evolve out loud in front of everybody. For us leaders, know this. We will not be judged by the elegance of our words, but by the evidence of our actions. So let's change "we're talking about it" without specifics to "we're aware, we're working on it, and here's what we're doing next and when." A little more concrete, right? This is a foundation of building trust in our leadership with our colleagues, with our teams, and with our organizations. Progress doesn't require perfection. It just requires proof. Action is the start. So as leaders, let's get started. And that will do it for a mini episode of Relationships at Work, the leadership podcast, helping you build workplace connection, improving culture, and avoiding blind spots. I'm Russell. Again, thank you for your time. I hope this is, well, sometimes these are not new ideas, but sometimes they're ideas we're reminded of at just the right time. And I hope that works for you. If this is the first time you're hearing it, fantastic. If it's a reminder, even better. Because we're all in a journey, and the whole point is that we keep learning, keep adjusting, keep getting reminded of things that will only improve the places we work. I'm in it with you. I hear you. All right, I'll leave it there and look forward to talking to you again on Monday with our next amazing guest. Take care.